Bonjour, guten Tag, good morning. Welcome to the video about Luxembourg.
I'm Hubert, this is Aga, and we are road rakers. And today we're gonna tell you about a very small country which lays in the Central Europe between Belgium, Germany and France. We are saying about Luxembourg.
Luxembourg's capital is also Luxembourg, but a city, of course. A Grand Duke lives there. Luxembourg is the only Grand Duchy in the world.
Luxembourg is one of the least populous countries in the Europe. About 0.6 million people live there. Only 50% of them are Luxembourgers. Another 50% are migrants from about 170 countries from all over the world. Because of migrations, Luxembourg has one of the highest population growth rates in Europe.
Do you remember that they welcomed you in few languages? That's because in Luxembourg, people use 3, sometimes even 4 or 5 languages. It's caused by all these nations that Hubert mentioned before. At the beginning, people learn only Luxembourgish and all education is in this language. But later on, then they start to learn also in French and in German. Many adult people decide to learn English or Dutch because they are really useful. That's why when you are on the Luxembourgian street, you can hear really many languages and you can just talk to anyone with any language that you want to.
And it's worth mentioning that there are 3 official languages in Luxembourg: Luxembourgish, German and French. Luxembourg's flag has colors that are very popular in this part of Europe because they are almost the same as in French flag and in Dutch flag. But Luxembourgers have vertical striped flag with the red color on top, then white and then blue.
Light blue.
Light blue. And how would you know that this is Luxembourgish, not Dutch flag? Because colors are almost exactly the same. Well, in Luxembourgian flag, the blue color is lighter than in Dutch flag, and also whole flag should be longer than Dutch flag.
Luxembourgers have their own symbol. It's a red lion. You can see it on some flags and in public places in the country.
They have it in their coats of arms also.
I think not every country has its motto, but this one has. Luxembourgian motto is "We want to remain what we are."
This motto is strongly linked with the Luxembourgian history, because the area where this country lays was always in the middle of the military operations during the medieval times and then during the World War I and World War II, and they never felt very safe where they were. So they are really appreciating the state of peacefulness that they have now.
It's the time to start a part called Did You Know?
Okay, so now it's the part when you are talking
About the rain.
about the rain.
It rains a lot here.
And now back to the studio, and I want to tell you that in Luxembourg a lot of alcohol is sold, but not because people are drinking that much, but because their neighbors are buying alcohol there. Probably because of prices.
But we don't know. We didn't check. Another fact, Robert Schuman, who's the father of European Union, was born here in Luxembourg.
Moreover, Luxembourg is one of the richest countries in the world, sometimes being called the tax heaven, and due to its very good working banking sector, a lot of companies have their headquarters there. It's also worth to mention that the unemployment rate is one of the lowest in the world, and the lowest guaranteed salary is also very high.
In Luxembourg, there are also many cars. They have the most cars per capita in the world. So They have a lot of cars, but they also live very long. The life expectancy is something about 82 years.
And to tell you about another interesting fact, we have to go outside. We are in the French citadel, but for the needs of this video, I want you to imagine that this is a Luxembourgian castle. Because in Luxembourg there are most castles per capita in the world. So, welcome back to the studio, and now Aga will tell you a short story about the Luxembourg public holiday, the Duke's birthday.
The Duke's birthday is celebrated on 23rd of June, but to be honest, there was no Duke who had birthday that day. Everything started when Duchess Charlotte, who had birthday on 23rd of January, decided to move her birthday celebration to 23rd of June because of the weather. It rains a lot here. And from that day, everyone is celebrating the Duke's birthday on that day.
And now it's time to move to the part about the Luxembourg city, which is the capital of the Luxembourg. It lays in the southern part of the Luxembourg and it's surrounded by valleys of two rivers, Alzette and Petrus.
In the city, there is a beautiful old town and a fortress. They are UNESCO heritage sites from 1994.
This is a Luxembourg fortress. It was built in 17th century and it was partially dismantled in 19th century. For now, some remains of it are there and you can visit them and go into the tunnels which are underground, and they have 23 kilometers and reach as deep as 40 meters. And if you like to see a beautiful view of these parts of the city, just go to the Chemin de la Corniche, which is also called the most beautiful terrace in the world by a Luxembourgian writer.
In the middle of the town, there is a Grand Duke's Palace. It has a beautiful Renaissance facade.
Let's move to the cultural and museum part of the city.
This is Duchess Charlotte Bridge, which connects the main part of Luxembourg with Kirchberg Plateau. On Kirchberg Plateau, there are buildings of European Union institutions. Over there is also a philharmonic with more than 800 columns around it.
This is Museum Mudam, which is designed by a Chinese-American artist who also designed the glass pyramid in Louvre in Paris.
In Luxembourg, there are many more museums and interesting places that are really worth to visit. But now we will not focus on them. We are going to change the topic for the less pleasant but really important one, so the war.
We are in Ham, where right behind me is an American military cemetery. Over 5,000 soldiers who died in this area during the World War II, especially in 1944 and 1945, are buried there. Also, the famous General George S. Patton has his grave there. Only 2 minutes drive from the American military cemetery, there is another one. Over 10,000 graves of German soldiers are right behind me in the German cemetery. It was the first German cemetery to be set up abroad the Germany after the World War II. And cemeteries are not the only things in Luxembourg to commemorate those who died in the World War II and World War I. There are also many monuments around the city and whole country. One of the most known ones is a Gelefra, which is a golden lady standing on the top of the Constitution Square in Luxembourg City. There is an interesting story about this monument, because it was raised in 1923 to commemorate those who died in World War I. And then, when the Nazis came there in 1940, they pulled this monument down. And the Luxembourgers refurbished this monument and put it again on the pedestal in the 1984. This time it symbolizes the resistance and freedom of the Luxembourgian people.
When you are standing near Galefra, you can also see an Adolf Bridge. It's called also New Bridge and was built at the beginning of 20th century. It was the biggest stone arch by then. It had 85 meters.
Now to everyday's life in Luxembourg. Different parts of the Luxembourg city are connected with the mountain parks, like this one, which I am standing now in. That's because some parts of the city are located in the valleys of the rivers, and some parts are located on the tops of the hills. Well, on the flat surfaces, you just have trams or buses to go. But if you want to go into the valley or outside of it, you can use elevators. One of the elevators is amazing because it has the glass wall, so you can see the panoramic view of Luxembourg when you are going up or down. And it's for free for everyone who goes there.
People in Luxembourg really love meetings, events, concerts, so there are so many places for them to do these things. There is also a Place d'Armes,
which is a very, very popular place to meet. The story is that it was paved by the French troops in the medieval times just to have parades after the wars there.
I'm sitting in a French park, but you have to imagine that it's in Luxembourg, where parks and green areas are 1/3 of all town. This is the end of our story about Luxembourg. To be honest, I really loved this place. And you, Hubert, do you have any thoughts about it?
Yes, I really liked it too. And I'd like to mention one thing. That in the Luxembourg city there is a free Wi-Fi everywhere. You just have to log in and you can walk around and use the internet. So it's useful when you are a tourist and don't have roaming there.
Probably there are many other things that can be interesting for you as tourists, but we couldn't discover all of them because we decided to change the country.
Yes, due to some situation in the 2020 in Europe, so you may imagine what it is. And we are sure that we're gonna come back to the Luxembourg to explore its countryside, the cities, castles, hills, valleys, and walking trails, because there are a lot of them there.
And now we are moving to the next country, so probably very soon you will be able to watch another movie. If you like it, subscribe.